Thieves have their sights set on Southwest Florida. They're stealing your property just by signing on the dotted line, and there isn't much police can do about it. Tonight, in this Fox 4 exclusive investigation, 4 in Your Corner's Julian Glover exposing this ring of deed fraud and shows you how to protect yourself and your property.
I'm coming. I'm coming to get my property back. My dad and mom worked long and hard for that.
Sheriff's Department can't fix it. The property appraiser can't fix it.
Multiple taxpayers indicated to us that they were quote-unquote fraudulent. Without an examination of title, it's not even something we would know about either.
It's a crime on the rise here in Southwest Florida that could leave you homeless. A crime that stretched a man's darkest hours into months and months of hell.
It was unbelievable that somebody could just walk in with fake signatures and claim a piece of property as being theirs.
It's just that easy. Gary Francis is the victim of deed fraud, a Pennsylvania man who came all the way to Florida to speak to us. His parents owned a property here in Cape Coral, and when they died, he wanted to put the empty lot on the market as a part of an estate sale.
So they had contacted me to see if we had sold the property, and we said no, we didn't sell the property.
But the legal documentation said otherwise. Gary turned to the Lee County Clerk of Court and found this, a quitclaim deed filed in 2014, transferring possession of the Cape Coral lot from his parents, William and Jean Francis, to a Rhino Holdings LLC. The Francis family no longer legally owned the property.
My dad worked long and hard to get that. I mean, they just walked in there and changed it with the stroke of a pen with false documents.
Gary was onto something. I requested the deed from the clerk's office myself, and things just didn't add up. Starting with the date, the quitclaim deed was struck up on January 19th, 2014, and shows that both Jean and William Francis were present and in front of a notary and showed their driver's licenses as proof of identification. But there's just one big problem with that. Jean Francis died in 2012, and Gary's father, William, died in 2007. And the notary who witnessed the transaction? A phony. Public records show Ann L. Rich never held a notary commission in the state of Pennsylvania.
I think somebody's out there watching your obituaries and somebody dies, perhaps other people in their family don't know about these parcels and they're getting away with it.
When Gary figured all of this out, he called the cops to file a police report, but their hands are tied. The report shows Cape PD detectives were unable to locate any details of the company, and several web pages no longer existed relating to the company. Rhino Holdings LLC is listed as the grantee on the deed, a limited liability company out of Indiana, but there isn't any info outside of that.
I figured I got the real documents that I could just get it changed back with a stroke of a pen, but it doesn't work that way.
This open lot in northwest Cape Coral, where Gary's parents hope to build on someday, isn't the only property snatched up illegally by Rhino Holding LLC. Our investigation revealed at least 4 other properties across Southwest Florida also taken without the owner's consent and only paid for about $50.
$50 for 5 properties.
Yeah, nice, right?
Jim Sharon is the chief deputy for the Lee County Property Appraiser's office. He says his folks process 1,000 deeds a day on average, but back on May 8th, 2014, his office processed 5 deeds that all raised some red flags, all submitted by Rhino Holdings LLC. Fake signatures, fake notaries, transferring ownership of the 5 Southwest Florida properties to the company, paid for by a $50 cashier's check out of the Bahamas.
We determined that there were multiple documents recorded on the same day, and multiple taxpayers indicated to us that they were quote-unquote fraudulent.
So if the clerk's office suspected the documents were fakes, why would it record them as official documents anyway? The answer?
We're not title clerks. We don't really determine who has title, who doesn't have title. We just merely determine that, we can identify the property in our system and update it accordingly.
But soon after processing the suspect deeds, Jim's office got calls from several of the property owners, pointing out all of those inconsistencies, like the owners of this lot on Sanibel Island, valued at more than $300,000.
We reversed our records so that it didn't show in Rhino's name, and so far we haven't heard back from Rhino saying, hey, you did this wrong.
But the nightmare isn't over yet for Gary and the other property owners caught up in this mess. The battle now leaves the clerk's office and heads to the courtroom.
The good news is it can be fixed. Bad news is it's going to take a while and it's not free.
Jack Penkow is a real estate attorney who's litigated this type of property fraud in the past. Unfortunately, he says appearing before a judge is the only way these grieving loved ones can settle their property problems once and for all. So how can you protect yourself if it's so easy for the bad guys to do?
Now, the advice is to go on our website occasionally and check your property. Ensure that, all things are in order, it's in the right name, it has the right information on us.
Because when stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars in property is so easy, they're going to keep trying.
If they do this 100 times, maybe they're successful 5 times, but those 5 times can be very successful.
The criminals knew the system, and they know how to beat it, and I ain't gonna let them beat it.
Julian Glover, Fox 4, in your corner.
And for a more in-depth look at Julian's investigation and tips from the experts on how to protect yourself, just click on this story when you head to our website, fox4now.com.